Okay, good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. Welcome, those of you streaming in today. Really excited for our sales meeting. I think I say that every time. Like, this is our best sales meeting to date. Every single one.
Absolutely.
But super excited. So, first, if you take an opportunity to sign in, we've got a QR code. There's also a link that you can just type in. When you sign in, that means you get entered to win a gift card. It's a $50 Visa gift card from our sponsor today, which is Ruth Max. We'll hear from them in just a little bit. So, and that's available for anyone streaming in or in person. So go ahead, and I'll pull the screen up again in a few minutes if you still need it. Okay, a few announcements. First, always like to highlight a service here at Silvercreek that you have access to as a Silvercreek agent. Today, I want to point you guys to the agent profile page on the Silvercreek website. Silvercreekrealty.net is our primary Silvercreek brokerage website. Every agent has their own banner page on that site. Now, if you have not uploaded a bio or a headshot, you are effectively a ghost on the page. We don't want that. So if you go to the Silvercreek toolbox, and in the account column, there is a link that says Update Agent Profile Page. This is where you can upload a headshot or update if you already have one, and put in a bio. So check on that. We get a lot of hits on this website every month, and we want to make sure that the public can find you as an agent on this site and be able to connect with you. And a headshot and a bio can go a long way in making that connection. Any questions about this? Okay. Next, I wanted to highlight that the National Association of Realtors has made the course for the ABR, which is the accredited buyer's representative. It's an actual, endorsement designation through NAR. They have made that course free for the rest of the year. Normally, I want to say it's $250 to $300. So go on. There are live webinar options for the course. There's also a work at your own pace on demand version of the course. And this gets you really close to getting your ABR designation. So take advantage of that. There is more information. Here is a website where you can go to learn more about that. Likely you got an email from NAR about this. It was also in yesterday's Silvercreek Connection email. Krista talked about it in her video, and we have a link there for you as well. So go for it. Education is always a value, and this prepares you to represent your buyers even better than you already are. Questions here? You guys are easy today. Okay, this quarter, our philanthropy is serving seniors. And that is the driving purpose behind the topic of our sales meeting today, which is housing challenges and resources for seniors. So from the give back side, what can you do this quarter to serve seniors? So here's a few ideas. First, you can make a donation to a nonprofit or an organization that serves seniors. There are many throughout the state of Idaho. On the Silvercreek Idaho Minute blog, we have a blog post about this, and we've identified some organizations in each of our regions that would be so grateful for a small or large financial donation. Next, you can volunteer at a Silvercreek event. We've got a few of those happening around the state, or you can just serve a senior in your community, in your neighborhood. There is so much need everywhere we turn, right? Taking someone a meal, or one day the snow's going to stop and it'll be spring cleanup time.
Say the part again.
Spring will come, I promise. The snow will stop eventually. So yeah, do something kind for a senior. Volunteer at a nonprofit, or there's a million ways to get involved. Lastly, attend the sales meeting, which is today. So thank you for being here. Really excited. We have some great upcoming classes. Always a reminder that the TAM classes are all of our CE. So there are a number of categories of classes here. TAM or CE, we do have an ethics class on Monday. Remember, you do have to do ethics this year by the end of the year if you haven't done it in this 3-year cycle. And Krista has 2 more versions of her Forms What's New class If you have not taken that, I highly recommend it. There is a recording on Silvercreek TV that you can watch. You don't get CE credit for that, but if you attend it in person, you do get 2 CE elective credits. So she goes through the changes on the forms, what you need to know, why some of the changes have happened, and overall just prepares you when you're working with your clients to, help them understand their contracts and makes you more equipped as well. All right, our next sales meeting is on March 19th, the psychology of selling. This is also going to be our best sales meeting. Every single one, they're all great. Paul Heim is teaching this, and I am fascinated. Psychology is just fascinating to me in general, how people think, why people make decisions. And that's what this class is all about, how you can understand people and why they purchase or why they don't, and how you can meet their needs more effectively. So this will be fantastic for your tool belt as a realtor.
2022.
Oh my goodness. We're going back in time.
Missed it.
It is not in 2022. It is in 2024. How long has that said that? Oh, like for the last 2 years? Okay, we'll see. We'll be here on March 19th this year. Okay, one more reminder to sign in here. If you have not already, those that are online, you can type in the URL link. It all needs to be lowercase or scan the QR code. Okay, we are going to turn a few moments over to Tyler Porter, one of our partners with Blue Ribbon Home Loans. Come on up.
Hello, I'm Tyler Porter, Bluebird Home Loans, partner with Silvercreek. On the theme of seniors, I do a lot of reverse. So we're not doing the gym. Basically, I just wanted to give a few pointers on why a reverse is important to a real estate agent. One of the big things that changed with FHA, because reverses are an FHA product, you can now have seller concessions on a reverse, which you never could before. So one of the stumbling blocks always is the cost of a reverse. So now the seller can pay for some of those fees. Really changes the possibilities. Market potential, 40% of your buyers are 62 or older. So that's a big portion of your market that's buying, and you have to be 62 to buy as a reverse. There's $73 trillion in equity in people 55 and older. So tons of equity in that market, and it's, unless you get a home equity line or sell your house or refi and get cash out, you can't tap into that. With the reverse, there's a few different ways you can tap into that equity. For older borrowers, most of them are on a fixed income, and it's harder to qualify on a fixed income. With a reverse, it's not the same guidelines as it is for a traditional mortgage. It's not based on debt to income ratios. And the other bonus is it's not based on credit scores. You don't have to have 620 or higher in reverse. Using reverse as a financial tool. I skipped through those because this is a really different presentation. Oh, okay. So a lot of people use a reverse as a financial tool. The ways you can do that is delaying Social Security. Say you own your house free and clear, and you wanted to retire at 62. Well, if you start taking Social Security at 62, you're not going to get as much as you would if you waited until you're 67. So live off the equity in your house for 5 years, and then start taking Social Security or your pension later when you get a bigger percentage. Just postponing your retirement, taking from your retirement assets, the longer you can postpone that so that those can grow, will benefit you. You can draw annuity style payments from a reverse. So if you own your house free and clear, you can actually get a check every month on a reverse. Not to be a downer, but let's say you find out you have colon cancer and you've got 3 to 5 years to live. You can do a term also where, okay, I want to draw money for the next 7 years. And that term or that amount of money would be a lot greater than spreading it out on an annuity. You can just get cash out if you want. We've got a lot of people that take cash out for funding grandkids 529 plans, or fixing a roof, or they need a new furnace. And any money you take out on a reverse is not taxed like income. So it's a lot different than if you had to pull money out of your retirement. Like if you're having to take more than your minimum yearly, you're going to be taxed on those figures. On the reverse, you're not taxed. And we do have people that take cash out and buy investment property, buy a second home, so they have another source of income. But that's just a few ideas of reverse. I think you're going to start hearing more and more about reverse mortgages in the next, but as long as you're in the business, because of how much equity there is in the market. Yes, sir.
If you take it as an annuity, what is it amortized to? Because there must be a.
So it's all based on the value of the property and your age.
Okay, so it must go out to like some insurance age, which is
So
calculating the average age of death or something like that.
yeah, so that the actuaries have that all figured
Right.
out on your average age is this, and that's what they use for that formula.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't end there. You pay mortgage insurance so that if you outlive that, you're still going to get it. It's just the mortgage company's going to eat that difference.
So what's the end game for the lender? When do they recoup their money? Is it when the house? So if the person dies or when the house sells, then that portion.
So whatever remaining equity. So once you move out of the house, so you have to live in the house as your primary residence. Once you move out, you have 6 months to sell, or sometimes the kids will refinance it if they want to keep the property. But yeah, you basically have 6 months, and then they'll extend it for a year. But as soon as you're not living in the property is when that term ends.
So that's when the lender is getting paid
That's when they would get paid back.
back. So
Yeah.
it could be 20 years. If they live to be 97.
Yeah. So the actual age that they put on the deed is 150, which no one's reached yet. So as long as you're living in the property, you can live to 150. Any other questions? Sorry, I took longer than I was supposed to. Come on, Donna.
What percent is reverse mortgage? What percent of the market of mortgages is reverse mortgage?
I would guess less than 5%. But it is a guess. It's growing. I know that.
We have 2 CE classes on the calendar in the Meridian classroom later this month. The first is a more intro level reverse mortgage CE class that Ty teaches, and then using reverse mortgages to help you on your production side, how that can support your business. So check those out, register for those, they're free. And we hope for those in other parts of the state, we recently took one of these classes to East Idaho, so we're hoping to get around more as well with it. So thank you, Ty. Okay. Next, we are going to invite up Pete Kelly. He is with Roofmax, our sponsor today, provided this wonderful $50 Visa gift card. So I will announce this drawing winner in the Facebook group when I share the recap of sales meeting, and then we'll drop this in the mail for you at that time. Come on up. I have this video from you.
So I'm Pete Kelly. This is Trent. I've owned RoofMax over in the Tri-Cities, Washington for the last 5 years. It's like a franchise, but we don't do royalty, so it's a dealership. He lives in Nampa, so he runs it here for us. Instead of me describing what RoofMax is, we're going to play this video because they do a lot better job than I do.
There is never a good day on your roof. Temperatures can climb to over 140 degrees, causing the roof to expand. Passing rain showers quickly cool the roof, creating rapid contraction, known as thermal shock. Your asphalt roof must remain flexible to withstand these extreme stresses. Oil within the asphalt allows for this flexibility. Depending on region, a roof begins breaking down between 7 and 10 years of age because the oil begins drying out of the asphalt, causing the roof to become increasingly brittle over time. With loss of flexibility, it starts to crack and begins slowly breaking apart, the same way cracks eventually turn into a pothole in an asphalt road. RoofMax is a 100% safe, all-natural food-grade oil. The spray-applied treatment quickly penetrates roof shingles, restoring flexibility and waterproofing protection. Each treatment is guaranteed to last 5 years and comes with a transferable warranty. And because RoofMax treatments are repeatable, a roof can be greatly extended past its expected life. Treatment is quick, clean, and very affordable. Get more life for less money, guaranteed, with RoofMax, a powerful fusion of science and nature.
So, RoofMax was developed about 8 years ago. There was a couple brothers that owned a roofing company for 33 years, and they noticed the quality of shingles were going downhill. So, like the picture on the right, so that top bundle is from 1999. There's 17 shingles in it. The bottom bundle is from 2020. There's 17 shingles. Same manufacturer, same style shingle. So you can see the quality has just gone downhill. There's less oil, less asphalt in new shingles. So now if you buy a 30-year roof, realistically, you're going to get about 15 years. What a 30-year means, it means there won't be a manufacturer defect for 30 years. That's all that means. It's very deceiving what they do. But this is supposed to be a lifetime roof. It's a presidential shingle, so it's the nicest shingle you can buy. That roof was put on in 2007, and you can see how much granule loss is already on that roof. Like, there's no way that thing's going to last 40, 50 years, like they say it's going to. So they sold their roofing company, went in with Battelle Labs, and they developed RoofMax. I don't know if you guys know what Battelle is, but they pretty much invent the world. It's a lot of smart people, a lot smarter than I am. There's one over in Idaho Falls, and so they developed RoofMax, and it's been our number one lead source in Tri-Cities is realtors and home inspectors, because we're the meat in the middle of the road. Seller, they don't want to put on a new roof because it doesn't increase the value, but the buyer wants something that says it's going to last. So we're the meat in the middle. Comes with that 5-year transferable warranty. We'll get all the repairs done. We do free inspections, so both parties are happy. It does help with the mortgage because they want to see 2 to 3 years on a lot of them. With that 5 years, it helps a ton.
You covered most of it. I'll be the kind of the face of this area here. I handle the sales, inspection, and the treatment, so I kind of do all the dirty work that he doesn't have to do. So
I'll be on the golf course.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Either one.
What's the approximate cost?
So it's about 20% the cost of a new roof. So
Okay.
if new roofs cost 10 grand, which that goes up April 1st, 8%, it's going up April 1st. So it's 10 grand, this is about 2,000. It's about $1.15 a square foot is what it is. So is that your question, David?
If it's food grade oil, then when it rains or things like that, are you having oil come down?
No. Within a half an hour, it soaks in and it'll reattach itself to the asphalt. So like if you're on a pitch of like 7 and your feet are sliding like a lot, the granules are falling off. After you treat the roof, when you get back up there a couple days later, your feet won't slide at all. They lock those granules back in. And a squirrel will not eat your shingles. I get asked that a lot. Was that your question?
Peanut oil.
Okay. Go ahead.
After your new roof is installed, when should one do their first treatment of this?
So I would start looking at it around year 7. We've had a lot of people ask year 4, even 3, and it's just, we would be taking your money to take your money if we treated it earlier than that. So we won't do it because the shingle comes with oil, and the shingle's kind of like a sponge. It can only take so much liquid before it repels off. So if we went and treat it, we would seriously just be taking your money, take your money. So, and you might not even need it at year 7. So we'll go out and take a look. If we don't think you need it, then we see you next year. And it all just depends on granule loss. So if there's too much granule loss, then we can't treat it and you need a new roof, in which we are partnered with a roofing company over here. So we can get you a new roof also. But if the granule loss isn't too bad, we can treat it 2-3 times, get another 10-15 more years.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We're going to stick around if you guys have any other questions.
Great information today. Thank you, everyone, so far. We are going to turn the time over now to Donna Rogers and Charity Young, who are speaking to us today about the housing challenges and resources for seniors. Come on up. We'll clap for you.
Good morning. It's so nice to be able to present to you guys today. This is a subject that I know Charity and I both are very passionate about. So to get to talk about something that we love is always amazing. One little side thought I wanted to say to everyone that's listening is definitely get with Tyler and learn more about reverse mortgages if you're not familiar with them, because if you're working with seniors, you're going to come across a lot of people that have them. And it's just another person in your toolbox. I was going to say tool in your toolbox, but I don't want to call Tyler a tool. So another, I think our whole, if I wanted to name this anything other than housing challenges, it would probably be it takes a village, because it truly does. And you'll see that as we go along, and maybe you've already experienced it anyway, but having somebody like Tyler that you can talk to will really be important in the future if this is the road that you want to go down. So first of all, I'm Donna Rogers. I am a Silvercreek real estate agent. Remember that wonderful time period between 06 and 09 when we weren't having that much fun in real estate, and I didn't really want to do short sales and foreclosures, and I had a little girl. I ended up working in the senior industry in hospice and home care and senior living. And the first day in hospice, I was like, I can't even believe that I'm talking about old age and death. This is not something I want to talk about. But as it turned out, it's truly one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me, is to be part of that journey where you come along and partner with someone when they're facing so many decisions and challenges. So along with that toolbox and having it taking a village, I am very blessed that I was able to find Charity, she owns Boise Care Connections, and she is a senior placement specialist. There we go. She cares and she works with seniors. Anyway, so that's just a little bit about me. My mission statement has always been, from this time I started working in hospice, is no senior will fall through the cracks on my watch, because as you saw the statistics from Tyler, 10,000 baby boomers a day turning 65, 73 million people are 55. So, there are a lot of people that are starting to be faced with these decisions of downsizing and what am I going to do next. So that's just a little bit about me. I am an SRES. For those of you who are not, that's a senior real estate specialist. Even after 10 years of working in the senior healthcare industry, I learned a lot from taking the SRES certification. So I would encourage you to. So I'm going to let Charity take over at the very end. I am going to talk a little bit about what I feel that realtors need to know when working with this amazing but vulnerable group of people. So here's Charity. And she doesn't walk on water, but almost.
She's so kind. She's so kind to me. Well, thank you so much for having me today. As Donna mentioned, I am a nurse, and I'm a nurse of 20 years. I have spent the entirety of that time here in the Treasure Valley in senior care. I could talk Don and I talk about this. We could talk for hours and hours about this because we're so passionate. We have so many stories, and I have no doubt that you would love every minute of it. But we are limited today, so I'm going to try to hit the highlights. I started Boise Care Connections because I realized with my background, I had a unique set of skills and experiences to help seniors and families find the best senior care and community for them, for their health, and for their budget. I'm going to help you understand my background and then kind of help you understand the levels of care that are available to seniors in our community. So, I worked at all of these places. This is my history, right? And at the bottom here, I've placed for you what kind of settings those are so you can understand. So most of my time was spent in skilled home health and hospice. So that's in-home settings. That means I took care of people in their homes, in their families' homes, in assisted livings, in independent livings, in memory cares, okay? That was the totality, most of my experience. And so what I would do is I would walk into people's homes, assess their living situation, assess their health needs. I would have their medical health records, their medications, and I would sit down with a Medicaid or Medicare very long document, go through every single piece of their life and their health, and then develop a plan. So the other thing I've done is personal care service nursing. That is where caregivers come into the home, right? The nurse goes and sees people, they do a care plan, care for those caregivers to follow. Assisted living, I think you guys are familiar with memory care. This is for people with dementia or Alzheimer's. Oh, a little bit louder. Okay, sorry. I know I'm kind of quiet. And then long-term care is for people who have the highest needs, right? Maybe they need a Hoyer lift. They have complicated wounds on their bodies, things like that. And then hospital, I think everybody knows what that is. And rehabilitation is a frequent place for seniors because they fall, they break a hip, they get pneumonia, they need to go recoup for a while, and then they need to go to another setting, either home or assisted living. So that's a little bit about my history and care levels in general. So something I want to emphasize today is that senior transitions is really empathy in action. And it goes beyond transactions. I realize for a real estate agent, right, a lot of what you do is the transactional part, right? We're going to find you a house. We're going to make sure the paperwork's okay. We're going to find you another one that has the right amenities, it's the right location, and it's the right price, right? But when you're working with seniors, you want to be sure that you practice these 4 elements of empathy. Because for them, for a lot of them, it's the house they've owned for 30 years, 40 years. They raised their kids there. Maybe their spouse passed away there. They've lived their entire life there. And so to let go of all of that is not just a transaction for them. So if you can see things through their eyes, through their world, appreciate, who they are and where they've been, and that this is a tough jump, to let go. Understand their feelings and communicate and understand. Right? It's like, hey, I understand this is challenging for you. I understand you have a life full of memories here, and maybe this isn't your choice, but I'm going to help you navigate this. So people don't. There's this saying. I'm sure some of you have heard it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you just walk in and like, hey, yep, okay, well, you're moving, and we're going to sell your house, and I know how to do this all. It's not going to go over well. It's not going to go over well at all. So I want to tell you a little bit about what I do. So if you have a senior and you call me and you say they need more care, they need more than they're getting at home or wherever they are, I will come in and do a comprehensive assessment. And depending on timing, sometimes that's over the phone if it's rushed, right? Sometimes it's over the phone. But it can be in person, in the hospital, in rehab, wherever they are. And so these are the kind of things that I'm going to look at when assessing them, right? Mobility, that's the biggest one. That's probably the biggest one that's going to determine which level of care they need to be in. Medications, health history, health needs present and future. That one is huge because, you know, if you are diagnosed with Parkinson's today, your journey on the Parkinson's scale there is different for everybody, but it does follow a predictable path that I've seen. And so depending on your age and other things, you know, where you go now for care may be a big issue for the future, right? Social wants and needs. Lots of seniors move from their homes to senior communities because they are lonely, because they need that community connection. I have seen I've helped lots and lots of people with that exact desire. And I watched them go from being at home, lonely and depressed, barely taking care of themselves, and I find them the right community, and they blossom. They blossom, their face lights up, they're taking care of themselves more, they have hope for the future. And not every community can accommodate maybe the kind of social wants and needs that they have. You know, all of these places will, oh, we have this great activity program, it's this, oh, we go, da, 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 da. But if none of the residents, you know, if the population there doesn't participate in those, is it really an activities program? So those are the kind of things that I know being in the industry. Family, like Donna said, it takes a village, it takes a team, and family, if they are involved, they absolutely have to be involved. You will be saving yourself a lot of trouble in the long run, for the most part, if you have family involved, particularly if they have power of attorney. It's very much essential. I also asked about people's education and vocational background. You know, if they were he was a orthopedic eye surgeon, extremely bright, extremely brilliant, right? He's probably not gonna feel comfortable in maybe the lowest, you know, assisted living or wherever it is. He's probably going to want to be in a higher end type place with higher end amenities, aesthetics, care, things like that. Budget is a huge one. I do a budget assessment, and paying for senior care is very expensive. It's very expensive, and so people are very shocked by the price. So just to walk in the door of an assisted living, say here in the valley or in the state, I would say if minimum is $3,500 a month, and it goes up from there. Obviously, you can pay as much as you want, all the way up to $12,000 a month, right? Memory care is different. It probably starts at about $5,000 a month. So you can imagine these little old people are like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for this? Well, most of them use the equity from their homes. And I will say, if they have a reverse mortgage, I do kind of cringe a little bit, because inside it's like, you don't have any resources. If you've used up all of that mortgage, you have no resources. And then what happens is that they're Medicaid. And Medicaid is the state program that will pay for seniors who have nothing to be in assisted living.
Long-term care insurance.
We'll talk about that in a second, yeah. So if they don't have long-term care insurance, right? So Medicaid, you're like, oh, that's great, the state will pay for me, this is great. No, it's not great. You know, not every community takes Medicaid.
No one wants to take it.
Nobody wants to take it. They don't want to take it because of the paperwork, because they don't get paid as much. They may not get paid on time. To work with the state is, you know, awful. So I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon, in the coming years, it's a benefit that seniors can qualify for, but they can't utilize. So think about that when you're helping anybody in your life who's a senior who's maybe contemplating a reverse mortgage, because that's a good possibility. I've been doing placement for 5 years, and the number of Medicaid availability spots shrinks every single year. And there's way more seniors that need spots than there are spots available.
But if they do a reverse mortgage, they have to be living in the home. So
That too, but
catch
right,
22.
right, catch 22.
If there's 2 members of the household, but
Right.
They
So
don't-
that's special. There's special situations. It's more complicated, like say the spouse, and that's the other thing I can help walk people through. I don't do the legwork or the law piece to get one spouse onto Medicaid when the other one stays in the home. That is possible. That's more of a job for elder law attorneys, but I can definitely advise and talk about that and point them in the right direction. So the other issue is long-term care insurance. There are a few people that I work with that were smart enough way back in the day to get long-term care insurance. And those are all different. They usually know they have them because they've been paying a lot of money on them for a long time. And the benefit is usually pretty good. So I can't help them if they don't know. It's like, oh, I got this paperwork, but I don't know. I mean, I've called many long-term care insurance people with the client. And, what is the benefit? How does it start? How do we navigate it? All those
And they,
really fun things.
over the last 8 years, they've jacked the prices up on that, and they can go up every year on you,
Yes.
like 20%.
They are
You
not cheap.
Yeah.
They are not cheap. Yeah. So the other thing about budget is the VA. If they're a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, there are benefits that they can potentially qualify for that gives them a significant chunk to go pay towards their care. And the VA also has other programs that can maybe help them in the home. So I can help them, direct them, and advise them on that. Timing, obviously, when we need to be out of here, and probably the biggest one, Dell and I talked about. We probably could have named this presentation "Setting Expectations," because we do a lot. I do a lot of that. Setting expectations about how it is to move, how it is to leave your stuff behind, what it's like in a senior community, all those kinds of things. So this one, I'll just let you look at it, but because I kind of talked about it on the other slide. But after I do that assessment, then I come up with a customized plan for empathetic and efficient transition, because we are in the business of moving people, right? And that's for their betterment. And so there's a lot of strategies here that I use, and I work with the team, the family, the real estate agent, the doctor, the community, all of that team to try to get them in there efficiently. Okay? Because lots of times they're unsafe at home. Sometimes they don't want to move. So if we can do it as efficiently as possible, we will. So those. Some of the other education pieces I provided, I kind of touched on this, is disease process education. There's a lot of people, especially right now, with dementia, new diagnoses of dementia, Alzheimer's. They really don't understand. They don't understand what it's going to look like, how it's going to impact their life if they're a caregiver. I can determine level of care, right? Like, okay, you do need assisted living, you need SNF, you need this. I have pricing and availability of communities, and I work with independent living, assisted living, and care, certified family homes, skilled facilities, and home care. So we talked a lot about that on previous pages, but the other thing I have is a Medicaid availability list that I update weekly, and that's public for people on my website, and it goes out to interested people in the community. The other stuff I really educate on is, unfortunately, death and dying and the grieving process. And grief is a big one in this circumstance, right? You're grieving everything. And to be patient and empathetic. Sometimes I joke, I feel like I'm a counselor. I'm a counselor for seniors and families to just help them through this process. So here are some of the advantages of working with me. I am the only geriatric nurse-owned and operated service in the Valley with 20 years of experience. I know I'm talking to a statewide audience. I do have connections in East Idaho and Twin Falls. Not so many up north, but I could assist if you have people. I'm a lifelong Boise resident, born and raised. My whole family lives here. My husband's whole family lives here. We're here. I do provide transportation if needed for tours to communities. If they can get into my vehicle safely, if I determine that, I can take them. I do prioritize those without family. There's a lot of them actually. I'm surprised how many I work with that have no kids. They have no siblings. They have nobody. And so I'm helping them with this transition. I will tour the seniors and families as needed if they have a family member. I usually just set them up and follow up. And I am contracted with 95% of the senior communities in the Valley. That is incredible. Those contracts do not come easy. Some of those took years. Some of them took connections of people that I've worked with for years. And I work very hard to maintain those. So a lot of my competitors cannot say that. Some of them only have 6. They're contracted with 6 facilities out of 100. So accelerated placement, I feel like I can place people faster because of my nursing background. Communities are, trust what I say more. It's faster, all of that stuff. Inside information, like we talked about, maybe the activity program, they have it, but nobody goes. They say they take high care, memory care, but they don't, because people call me because they're getting kicked out. So quickly, I want to share a couple of experiences of senior care and real estate when they come together. So I could share a lot, but I just picked a couple. So one of them, one lady I helped this year, just a few months ago, the real estate agent called me and she said, "Oh, Charity, I really think, can you help her find a senior community? She really needs your help." I said, "Okay." So I go over there and she seems totally great. She seems great from the outside, right? She's driving, she's doing all of her care, maintaining the house, all these things. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe we need to look at independent living, right? Well, I visit with her and come to find out she wants to move because someone is breaking into her house. And they're breaking into her house over and over and over again. And she doesn't feel safe at home. And so I talked to her about it, and I find out this person steals things, steals her mouse, steals her knives, steals her banking information. She is convinced it is a neighbor. Oh, I know it's this neighbor, I know it. Well, because of my experience, I know that this is a symptom of dementia. She has not been diagnosed, but she does need a different level of care, right, than what she's getting at home. So she had no family, she had no kids, nobody. So I had to work with her we found her a community, right? And then because of these issues with the person breaking in, she was in this cycle. It was like a dryer. Every time we left, she would bring things with us because she didn't want the burglar to get in. And she would constantly go change her banking information. Like I don't even know how many times, 3 and 5 times a month more, because she felt it was compromised. So what I had to do was convince her that she needed a conservator, and she needed a conservator and a medical power of attorney person to help her stop that cycle. And luckily she agreed. We had a good enough relationship, and because I'm a nurse, I think she trusted me. She agreed to have that team come on and help her at least periodically so she could make it to the facility, the community. Because she would put down deposit checks and they would bounce. They would bounce because she, changed the account. And communities want to be paid. So she's moved and she's great. I did help arrange for a memory test. She was diagnosed with mild dementia. So she doesn't need a memory care unit yet, but I made sure that we chose a community where she can age in place, right? She has the care that she needs. It has a memory care. She has the funds. There's no issues there. So the other one I was going to share real quick is I had a husband and a wife call me, the wife called me. Let's be real here. The wife called me. And she said, Charity, I really need your help. We're here at home. We've been here forever. And I really feel like we need to move. We need a senior community. I'm like, okay. So I go over and help them, talk with them and do an assessment, help them. And I can tell right away from being in their home that they're struggling with housekeeping. They're probably struggling with food preparation, medication management, all of that. And after I leave, she follows me out to the door and she says, Charity, the real reason I need help is because I'm gonna die. There's nothing else they can do for me. And I need a place where I know my husband will be taken care of when I'm gone. So help me. So what we did is trying to find communities, right? I wanted to be sure that she would get the end of life care that she needs and deserves, and that he would get what he needs after she's gone, and that they could afford it, because all they had was the equity in their house to pay for all of that. They moved in, and maybe like 6 months after they moved in, maybe 7 months, I remember, she called me and let me know that she was going to hospice, and she did pass away. And he's still there. I go and I see him on tours, and he is taken care of. I'm sure he misses his wife of lots and lots of years, but his needs are met. And I just wanted to give you kind of an idea. She gave me this card. You might not be able to see it, but this is the example of the people that I help all the time. In her life, she was a clown. She loved dressing up and going to senior homes and making people smile. And she did that for quite a while. And even though she had been in and out of all of these houses, all of these communities in the past, she still wanted my help finding a community. She was just amazing. So, okay, I'm probably out of time. So I just want to leave you with, it takes a team, and experience matters. And the longer I do this, the longer I feel that to my core. Experience matters with senior transitions. And if you don't feel like you have that experience, it's your responsibility, it's your ethic and moral responsibility to reach out and get the help that you need, because they deserve that. And senior transitions is empathy in action from start to finish. So my service is free. It's 100% free for seniors and families. If I find them a community that they move into, that community pays me for my time. So, a lot of times I am compared to real estate agent. Like, oh, you're kind of like a real estate agent. Not quite. Not quite. There's a lot more that goes into placement and senior care placement communities than just the next physical location of the amenities. So, I try to set them up for success. And I love these pictures because these are more, realistic pictures of who I really help and how I want them to look after and replace them. I want them to be happy and healthy and loved and secured and enjoy their older years. So, thank you so much. Thanks. How much time do we have left?
12 minutes.
Oh, I'm gonna need like at least a half an hour, so ordering lunch. No, I'm kidding. Not really. Thank you, Charity. Charity said it. If you don't have so much empathy for the journey that they're on, please refer it to someone who does, because you're gonna find yourself in the trenches doing some crazy stuff for these people. and they're worth it. They really are. So, what realtors should know when working with seniors, it's almost kind of like a repeat. Empathy and compassion. Absolutely. Active listening, you have to listen, and trust me, you're going to listen and listen and listen, because sometimes you're the first person they've talked to in days. Knowledge of senior housing options. We talk about, as realtors, we're always encouraged, you're not an attorney, don't act like one, you get an attorney. Well, same thing when it comes to senior housing options, because there are so many out there, and it would be scary if you were working with a placement specialist that only had 6 buildings. That's all that she is going to choose from for your loved one or for your client. And what I know from working in the hospice and home care, where I was in and out of all those buildings all the time, and I knew exactly who I would send my parents to. But what happens is that administrator sometimes moves on. And when she leaves to go to a different building, a lot of times she'll take her whole staff. So the culture of that whole building changes. And that's why I value Charity, because I'm not in and out of those places. I don't know what is great. And I also don't know who specializes in memory care or anything like that. So you've got to have a professional. That is definitely another one for your toolbox. Financial considerations, respect, trusted resources, again, communication, and continued support. And we're going to kind of go through these. And it's not, I have done this not to bore you to death by PowerPoint, but it's really to keep me on track, because I'll just babble about it forever. So I'm just going to kind of go down this. When I was working for an independent senior living, I had the most amazing boss. And when I first started, he said, "Donna, you're going to get some grumpy people. You just are. And I don't ever want to see you treat them with anything but love and compassion." He said, "Because what I want you to know about those people when they walk in this door to choose their next place of living is they're suffering from some kind of loss. Loss of independence, loss of a loved one, loss of their home. Secondly, this is a huge transition. They're leaving homes that they've loved. Third, most of them, and this is pretty sobering, most of them realize this is their last stop. They're not going to get better. They're not going to get younger. This is literally their last stop." And you have to realize when you're talking with them, when you're having those conversations, they are vulnerable and they are scared, and they're trying their best to be brave. I will tell you probably the one thing to be, and I don't care if I even get through my slides, I want to talk about some of this stuff that's really important. Family dynamics. I'm telling you what, if you have not already went through your own parents dying or aging and going into senior living, you haven't seen family dynamics, because I don't know what happens, but when the parents fall apart, the kids get crazy. And as long as I bet in hospice, I was the first person on this scene when somebody got a diagnosis that they needed to be on hospice. And I'm talking about, there was chaos everywhere. The kids were out of control. They were trying to figure out how to afford this and that, and people were crying. I thought I'd seen it all, because I've probably talked to hundreds and hundreds of families about that transition. Oh, when it came to my own family, holy moly, I used to have a saying that it's not a family get-together with my family unless the cops get called. Let me tell you, that happened. And here I'm going, wait a minute, I've guided all these families, and mine, we got the cops here. It was crazy. So understand that you can get caught in that situation where family is going nuts, and you will not win. You have got to find the power of attorney and stick with the power of attorney, and understand that even with the power of attorney, there is all kinds of pressure going on. I actually walked away, and it takes a lot to get me to walk away, but sometimes you have to realize the value you bring, and when you're being torn down and not appreciated, sometimes you just need to move on and serve people who appreciate you. And I did. This family, one of the sisters caught me out in the driveway and threatened to kick my rear end because she knew I was going to sell the house for too little. What it was is she'd lived off mom and dad pretty much her whole life. And now guess what? We had to sell the house to get mom into a place where she could be safe and taken care of. And little sis was having a problem knowing that she might actually have to support herself. So I've got her, then I've got big brother that pulled up with him and his motorcycle gang, and they don't like me from the get-go. And then I've got the power of attorney, who is this meek little mouse, and I kept telling her, you were chosen by your parents because they are the ones that felt you could do the job, and you've got to do the job. So we were going through all this. She'd call me every couple of days and say, hey, will you check out this one real estate agent? And I was like, okay, what about her? Well, my brother kind of wants to use her. By about the second time that happened, and I said, I don't really think I want to interview your future agents. I mean, I've been out there about 16 times, about got beat up by your sister, scared to death of your brother and, the Harley gang that he rides in on. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm walking away. And as it turned out, I checked in later, and by the time they got that house sold, Mom had died. She never even got out of that house where she had very poor care. So it is heartbreaking. And I'm going to tell you, for all of you out there, if you do want to go down this road of seniors, it's not a niche. That's what's killing me right now. Is even I'm on a lot of the SRES Facebook pages, and everybody's like, look at this niche. It's the new niche. We got 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day. Wow, you could do this and that. And it's not a niche, folks. It is a huge life change for people, and they are hurting in the process. And I want to give you an example. I've had a lot of examples. I went out to one gentleman's house. He was the sweetest man ever. He said he wanted a second opinion, and I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I took the comps out. We're sitting there talking, and he said, what do you think that I could get for the house? And I showed him the comps, somewhere around $649. He just started sobbing. I said, are you okay? And I'm so relieved. He said, I promised my wife on her deathbed, because we didn't get to travel throughout the world like we wanted to. I promised her on her deathbed that I would travel. And the agent that came out here yesterday said he'd give me $250,000, but I had to tell him today, and it would be cash. And I'm like, I'd really like to have that person's name, because I'd really like to meet him. But still, I mean, come on. That is so irresponsible. So you do come across that kind of thing all the time. And notice I'm not using any of my beautiful PowerPoints, and I mean, like, I have some really cool PowerPoint pictures. But I want to say, active listening. When you go in, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you literally, when I walk in, I just say, tell me what's going on. Tell me what you need. Tell me what your goals are. Tell me what the situation is, because I've got to know. Part of being an SRES, their training says that if you're an SRES and you go into a home, you have to know that sometimes the best answer for those people are to not leave their home. So when you're all fired up about getting a listing, and you walk into a home and you realize that actually Meals on Wheels, a Medi set for their med reminders, and some home care is all they need. And you've got to listen. You are the expert there at that time. Another thing is, if you don't recognize signs of early dementia, you need to do some studying up on it. It really messes with people, and you think you're having a normal conversation. I thought I was having a completely normal conversation with a woman. Yeah, we're going to do this. The senior mover came in to help with some hoarding issues and get her packed up. She said, here's a picture of the client. She takes it. She's laying on the floor, having a full-blown tantrum. She is not going anywhere. But the referral for resource did not know anything about her having dementia. So I didn't either. And this woman looked completely normal. And all of a sudden, I mean, she was in the hospital 3 times, had a nervous breakdown, you name it, before we got that house sold. It was an adventure. Anyway, look for signs of elder abuse or financial exploitation. You're talking to this woman and she's ready to move, and all of a sudden she's got this boyfriend that moves in, and nobody really knows a darn thing about him, but he's controlling the purse strings all of a sudden. Or you walk in and there's an adult son that's calling all the shots and lives in the master bedroom, and mom's sleeping on the couch. Those are probably not normal. Those are signs of some kind of elder abuse, some financial exploitation, some undue influence. And you need to know that. You need to recognize those signs and know how to report it and how to get help. Again, knowledge of senior housing options. it's nerve-wracking to stand up here and talk to a lot of people and get your points across for what you want to do. But get a hold of Charity and find out. The reason I picked Charity is because she knows the buildings inside and out. She's a nurse. If you've got somebody going completely crazy in the house and Charity comes in and says, you know what, they're not going to really be okay in assisted living with this behavior. But if she recognizes a medical condition where maybe the meds could be changed and now this person is okay, that is priceless. And there's a website that when you Google anything about seniors, a very well-known company comes up. And they have some great information. And they're also a senior placement company. But what happens is the minute you sign up to get that service or their information, they're not Charity anymore. What they do is they take that lead and they send it out to 6 different people, 6 different placement people. So all of a sudden, this family that's in distress has now got 6 other companies calling them. Makes me crazy. Not good. So going to the source and having somebody that's in and out of these buildings all the time. Plus, she might act tough, but she is a sucker for seniors, just like me. You know you are. Okay. I do want to touch a little bit because not always as a realtor are we helping someone downsize and go into assisted living. Sometimes we are moving them to their second home. So we're going to sell the first one, move them into the second one. Please keep that in mind. You are kind of the tour bus driver at this point. Don't show them houses with stairs. I mean, they think they can climb a stair, but can they in 2 to 3 years? No. First thing you know, they've had a fall down the stairs and you're back there trying to figure out how to get them into assisted living. So do have the respect for really where they're at. Are the hallways wide enough for wheelchairs? That kind of thing. I mean, just have a respect for where they're at and where they're going. I'll tell you what, I like the last people, Charity sent me these people that one of them was a hospital administrator for St. Luke's. The other was a hospital administrator for Misty's. These people were sharp and they knew their stuff. And the last thing I was going to do is talk down to them. And you have to understand that. And another thing I will say is please dress respectfully. I get all these people, they're like, well, just because I have tattoos and 6 piercings, they're just going to have to deal with me. Well, that's fine. That's personal preference. But these people, they come from a different generation. You need to be respectful. I remember the torn jeans thing. I would go see my mom and she'd be like, oh, Donna, what is wrong with your jeans? I mean, she was super worried that I'd either been attacked by a wild animal or that I had no money. I mean, it really freaked her out. And I stopped wearing those jeans. So financial considerations, you get into people who they got money and it don't matter to sell the house. So you get them placed into, like the last client's in independent living, and then you can go about downsizing the house or whatever you need to do. But there are some people that they are hanging on by a financial thread, and you need to be very aware that certain things have to happen in order. And you're probably also going to be doing a lot of painting and hammering because they probably don't have any money to fix things up. So along the lines of financial considerations, I did not know this because we always think of the Golden Girls. Well, did you know that the mom came later, but the 3 didn't even know each other. They answered an ad. So 2 of them were widows. One was a divorcee. Well, Sophie was a widow as well. But so why? You think about it. They actually answered an ad, and that's how they came together. So was it financial necessity for them to live together, or was it because they were they were lonely? So either way, isolation, money. They all ended up living together and got rich and famous. Maybe we should try it. I'm taking applications for everyone else. One thing I will just say, because I know we got to be running out of time. I haven't gotten that from her yet, but okay. Communication. Again, this is, I can't even begin to tell you how many conversations, I know you do too when you work with probably reverse mortgages. You have many conversations because they're feeling insecure, they're scared. Sometimes they don't understand. And so you're talking them through the process. Sometimes I even write it down, like here's the process. We're going to work on clearing out the clutter. We're going to do some repairs. We're going to put the house on the market. So definitely address any concerns, because sometimes even if they don't have dementia, they're forgetful. Their brains have been being used for 85 years and they're tired. Definitely involve the family. Don't go behind the family's back. Even if you think the family is dirt, be very careful with how you talk with the family, because they will get you in the end if you're not careful. Kiss your authenticine goodbye if you're going to work with seniors. Yes, yes. Because they prefer face-to-face, and you're lucky if you get to text them, but you're sure not going to get to have them electronically sign anything. They're not even sure they trust you even after they've signed it themselves. Definitely continued support. I mean, I follow up. I have coffee with about 25 seniors on a regular basis. I want to make sure they're okay. And that's another beautiful thing about Charity, is because she's in the loop. They're her clients too, and she's making sure that they're okay. Again, it takes a village. So you need to have your village. These are usually the things that you're going to need if you're working with seniors. And they're not all created equal. I mean, especially this group. This is a flaky group right here. You need to interview them. Not really. But again, definitely take your time, get to know them, follow their social media, see what they're involved in, because you're going to need to trust them. I don't even call Charity. I text her, hey, this person's coming to you. That's all I do. She lets me know. I know that I can trust her. Once I give her a name and a number, they never fall through the cracks. Just in closing, important things to be aware of: cognitive issues, early stages of dementia. They can trick you. And here's a thing you need to know about a man and a woman. If they're married and they got a little bit of dementia going on, you'll never know it. They will cover for each other till the dying day. I don't know how they do it. They must make a pact when we're not around. So definitely pick up on those little things. I got a referral to go out to CUNA. You know how it is. We drive out, we pull in front of a house, and we're like, because we've been doing this for a while, right? So we pull up, we go, that's going to sell in 2 days. And it was about 2 years ago in the market. I mean, literally everything was selling in 2 days. So I walk in and I'm like, okay, we got to be careful. So, and I'm walking in and there's boxes everywhere. We got hoarding going on. This poor woman had just lost her husband a few months before. She is a mess. So we start going through the process of, okay, where are you going to go? I said, ma'am, your house is going to sell in 2 days. Where are you going? She said, I have an apartment being made ready it was one of the independent livings in Eagle. And I said, just a second. I call the independent living in Eagle. I get the marketing person. I say, I'm sitting here with so-and-so. She says she has an apartment being made ready. We need to know a time frame because this house is going to go fast. She said, 2 months. We are literally gutting it, doing new carpet, paint. It's 2 months. So I get off the phone. I said, okay, good news is we have lots of time to get your house ready and clear this stuff out. Bad news is we cannot proceed until we know that you can go. So anyway, we got it all lined out how we were going to do it. The woman was definitely very tearful, and it was a very difficult conversation, moving without her husband. I said, I'll be back on Monday. We'll sign the listing paperwork. I'm going to bring my boys with the boxes, and we're going to start packing up your stuff. We're going to sort through and see what you want and what you don't want to take to this little apartment. I get there on Monday. I ring the doorbell, and she goes, oh, honey, what are you doing back here? And I'm like, I was here Friday, said I'd come back on Monday. She goes, but you were here yesterday, and we signed all the paperwork. Sure enough, some realtor went out and literally signed listing paperwork with her. The house sold immediately for cash. She had 2 weeks to get out. Her apartment's not ready for 2 months. So I I called later and I said, where did this woman go? And they said, we put all of her stuff in storage. She lived in a hotel. She came here for 2 weeks, wouldn't unpack anything, extremely depressed and lonely, and she died. All of her stuff was still in her storage unit. And you know what? When I found out that agent had signed those listing people, I called her and I said, do you have any idea what you have done? And she said, you're just mad because you didn't get the listing. Whew. Anywho, be so careful. And I belong to an organization called JAVA's Justice Alliance for Vulnerable Adults, and thanks to everything that organization has accomplished, there is now, you can call 911 and 911, is that right? Yeah. I'm like, don't call it often, sorry. And ask for the Elder Abuse Task Force. There is now a task force that will investigate. Used to be, there was nobody locally. But definitely, if you see signs, do something. And I just want you to know that if there's somebody out here that gets an opportunity and doesn't want to deal with it, send them my way. I'll give you 30% referral. I don't even care. I've done a couple transactions where, well, in fact, I did one where I paid Silvercreek my transaction fee because that was all that I could do to make this happen for a woman. And I don't care because no seniors have fallen through the cracks on my watch. So, that's about all. See, I can like preach on the pulpit all day long. I'm sorry, but any questions? Yes. Go ahead.
So, I think I know the answer to this, but if I had a person like that and I wasn't certain if they were needed to be selling and moving right now, I can call you and then you call Charity and she comes in and evaluates everything and maybe we don't end up selling the house. Yeah. But she's still, even knowing that maybe they're not at the stage to move into a facility yet, she still evaluates it.
Yes, and in case you didn't hear that, she's asking what if you have someone who's maybe not quite ready for the process of selling or to go into any kind of care and you're not sure where to go. I don't care if they're your client. If you want me to go out and talk to them, I will. And you guys keep them as a client. If I can make a difference with one person, it means the world to me, and I know Charity feels the same way. So, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, question. So I've lived here for about 10 years. I moved here from the Phoenix area, and they have just scads of these like single family homes in neighborhoods with just piled in people. I'm assuming it's like a lower tiered price to accommodate people, but they're all over the valley there. I'm just wondering, like, is the price lower, and what kind of care are those people getting?
Well, that's the thing.
And what companies own those houses? Like, are those like, who owns that?
So we do have a resource like that here in the valley, in the state. They're called certified family homes, and a lot of states have a similar program like what you're speaking about in Phoenix. Here, they are owned by the caregiver, and they have met certain regulations and standards by the state to get the label of certified family home, and they can take in up to 4 people that they care for. And so you can kind of think of it as like a mini assisted living in a way, because they provide everything, meals, housekeeping, care, shower, dressing, all that kind of stuff. And they're all as different as the people that own them, right? I work with a set of certified family homes, and they are great for a certain type of senior, right? But
even here, like in the north end, there's a couple of them that I've passed by just going to appointments.
Oh, so you might be thinking of like Ashley Manor.
I don't know, but I'm also getting whiffs of marijuana.
Oh,
I'm like,
I don't.
that might be a whole other topic.
That might be.
Yeah, just medicinal.
That might be a
medicinal.
Yeah.
Oregon. And literally,
and they're not cheaper. They're actually not
Okay.
cheaper than traditional. A lot of times they're not. And since COVID, a lot of them do not take Medicaid anymore. So it kind of used to be that way. Like, oh yeah, maybe they're more affordable. Maybe they take Medicaid.
And another one, like, you guys know, like, all the homes out, I think it's Cadence. Again, a lot of little single family homes, and they do, I believe they rent them in that little community area. But again, some of those people, they've got to walk somewhere to eat. And so a lot of people that came into my life were having a problem because of the bad weather, or if they had a small injury, they weren't able to walk to get their dinner. So they were not eating, therefore they weren't taking their meds. So it's a hard road. I mean, we're not standing up here saying it's easy. It's just, I guess what we're saying is when you get a chance to make a difference, please do it. You know, because there's a lot of them that are falling through the cracks. Yes.
I was just going to say real quick, I had one experience, in this type of situation, and a lovely older lady, and I spent 3 different appointments with her. And I'm a pretty good cat herder, but I realized that my patience and their level of cat herd need were not matched, and so I extricated myself. So you do that if you feel like you can't slow down and wait, because she really didn't want to go. I mean, she was literally like, she didn't want to leave her house, and she had this lovely house with this beautiful backyard,
Yeah.
And so I couldn't blame her either. But it took a little while for me to understand that they weren't at the collective point to make that move yet. And they were trying to force it on her a little bit. And so we talked and just had some general discussions, and I just kind of moved away. But it's probably good to do that if you don't have the patience.
I'm telling you what, it will tax you. Thanks to Charity, I had one where I was in the trenches for months. Yeah, she was really good to me on that one. But no, I mean, they were wonderful people, but by the time we did the estate sale, and then there was issues with the house, and then cleaning and carpet, and then I staged it, and then that took about 5 months out of my life. But you know what? I walked away going, hey, I'm going to be eligible for Medicaid senior living because I don't make a ton of money in real estate, but my heart is full. It is a paycheck of the heart, and I won't change it for anything. So, okay. She's shooting daggers at me. We got.
Oh, I'm not.
I know. You had to say that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully there were some good takeaways for you. And of course, connect with these 2 amazing resources if you have more questions. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Oh, you want? Sure. Listen, this is the best.